Hello everybody, my name is Rick and you're listening to the rkdz podcast. Hope you guys are doing all right. Driving into work, you guys, so full disclosure, go ahead and put a little asterisk right up front here and say, hey, maybe might sound a little weird later depending on this roaring engine that I'm driving here. That's a filthy lie. The thing I drive for truck is, it shall not be named. It's unflattering. It's unflattering. But that's besides the point. Anywho, today's May 9th. It's been about 2 weeks since I last recorded the first episode. And last week, I think it was on Tuesday as a matter of fact, I had Xander over and we made an attempt at recording a podcast. But I was having some technical difficulties. I was getting some gear set up and I was having a little bit of trouble with that. But I'm trying really hard not to get caught up on gear, because that's like such a strong temptation. Oh man, well you gotta have all this sweet gear, you know, and I'm doing research and I'm looking at tutorials and I'm doing all this stuff. But at the end of the day, you know, I'm trying not to let the stuff get in the way, and I'm trying to focus more on, you know, what's the message? You know, who cares if it sounds good if what you're saying is stupid? You know what I mean? Because there's plenty of that on the internet. There's plenty of like super high quality, very well produced content that is garbage, that is time wasting perhaps. And I'm not saying that I'm like, you know, I'm giving you time here. I'm just helping you pass the time perhaps. Maybe you're driving. Maybe I'm just keeping you company while you're on your little commute, or maybe you're running a quick errand. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe you're not listening at all. That's cool too. I'm going to keep doing this. Oh my goodness. Couple things have been circling in my atmosphere, I guess is a good way to put it. But before we jump into any of that, I just wanted to say thank you guys for listening to episode 1. Thank you for the support. Much appreciated. Those of you who listen, just virtual fist bump. I'm actually making the fist bump motion right now with my left hand. Thank you guys. All right, so I want to talk about a couple things. So we'll start off with this, consciousness, all right? We're going to just jump right in here, you guys. So put your bathing suits on and we're going right into the deep end. We're just going to jump off the diving board. And sweet sound effects, bro. Anyway, consciousness, all right? Consciousness. So you are a human being. You are a human being who can have thoughts. You can think about things. You can imagine things in your mind. You can create things with your hands. You can communicate with other human beings. We're all on this planet, you know? We're all on planet Earth. Why are we here? What are we doing here? You know, like there's like all these deep questions, right? That pull at our hearts during our quiet times. You know, like what is meaning? Why do we yearn for meaning in anything? But then, you know, you pull up a couple layers from that quiet time and then you have, you know, this everyday standard distractions that we're all assaulted with, you know, whether it's terrorism or whether it's, you know, stuff at school. Hey kid, listen, you've got your tests, you got your MCAS, you got your SAT here. You better study up for it. Otherwise, you're not going to meet a certain criteria that's going to allow you to succeed in life. You know, like school's great, but it's that too is a broken system. But we'll pin that and put it aside for now. But again, like throughout the course of you know, a human being trying to better yourself, you know, whether it's through school or whether it's through reading or whether it's through whatever means you use. I mean, we're constantly in search of knowledge, of information. Perhaps not. Perhaps some of us are just kind of looking to be distracted, you know, looking for kind of that escapism, the way out. I feel like I'm rambling, you know, I really do. I mean, I guess the thing that I'm really trying to draw attention to is I guess you could summarize it and say your soul, you know, your soul and the thing inside of you that makes you who you are. That part of you is the part that we don't often surface to people. You know, you don't always reveal the deepest, most intimate parts of your personal self, of your persona, to, you know, people you're not super close with, you know. And why is that? What's the reason why you won't share all of yourself, all of your identity and trueness of who you are with people? You know, like the fronts that we put on, or the mask, right? But yeah, it's that the fronts that we put on, you know, like kind of like that glossy exterior to kind of hide our imperfections. I don't know if you guys saw Inception, but let's just assume you did. If you saw the movie Inception, Leonardo DiCaprio's character, he creates, in his dream, he creates his version of what he remembers his wife being like. And spoilers, just bit of spoilers, you know, toward the end of the movie, where he is kind of coming to terms with the imperfections that he has created of his wife. He's just looking at it going, all of the imperfections.
I can't imagine you with all your complexity, all your perfection, all your imperfection. You're right. Look at you. You're just a shade. You're just a shade of my real wife. And you are the best that I could do, but I'm sorry, you're just not good enough.
Even he realized that in his dream, like the thing that he had created was like this non-genuine version of the actual thing, you know. And so we'll use that as a metaphor for what I'm trying to describe here, is that, you know, the outward exterior that we portray to one another, I think is important. You know, like, it's cool if you want to be a private person. Like, I have to respect that. I can't negate that. But the part where maybe you are presenting to the world a very glossy, very polished version of yourself or your life, like, that's not helping anybody. And I think it propagates this terrible idea, and we can blame Hollywood, we can blame magazines, we can blame advertising, you know, we can blame all kinds of stuff for this, you know, that we all create, or we're all like ingrained to like want things that are nice looking, you know. Oh man, you got to have that nice looking thing. You got to look like you have all of your stuff in order. You know, we wouldn't want people to see that your house is a mess. But hey, sweet car, bro. That's a sweet car you got there. I'm just kind of drawing examples of the kinds of things that we are so inclined to do, you know, as humans. Like what is it about our humanity that provokes us, or that pushes us toward that, you know? And if you do enough reading, I'm sure you can find answers to this, you know. But I think ultimately, you know, that brokenness that we all have, the inherent brokenness of each human being, if we could just for a moment pause long enough to acknowledge that, hey, I don't have everything together. Neither does the person that I'm speaking to. Neither does any other person. We all have an inherent built-in flaw. Like, we were not created perfect. Like, God created us in his image, but we humans, because he gave us free will, we know better. We know how this works, so we apply our own rules to this planet, and we do terrible things to each other, you know, whether it's locally, you know, to one another, you know, your quote-unquote drama, or, you know, like high-level drama, you know, we're talking about like war, and you know, like pushing our agenda on countries that we have nothing to do with, you know. Speaking as an American, like there's so much wrong with the way that we do things, but no one wants to acknowledge that. And that's the most frustrating part about our society nowadays, is that we're all concerned with not offending people. We're all concerned with, well, my version of the truth is this. Like, we have made truth completely subjective and like up to the opinion of this hive mentality that we've created. It's terrible. But like, here I am, like, I'm saying this out loud. Like, who cares what I think, right? I'm one voice, a cacophony of freaking millions of other voices who are saying a bunch of other stuff in different directions. A friend was speaking yesterday about unity. Like, what a fantastical idea that is. How outrageous of an idea for people to be united. Are you insane to think that human beings can be united? Like, it's the United States of America, right? It's the United States of America. And yet, we as a country, I'm 36. I don't know that even older folks have ever seen the country as divided and as broken as it is right now. That speaks volumes for what, my generation, the generation before me, the generation after us, like, what we're dealing with here is like pretty heavy stuff. We are not united, and we cannot unite the world. We, America, can't bring peace to the world. I don't know why we feel like we can't. I don't know why we feel like our patriotism is the sole truth that everyone should bow down to. Like, there's right and wrong. There's right and wrong. There's this thing called the moral law. You cannot ignore it. It's built into the foundation of humanity. And the line, there's a line in every man's heart. Good, evil. Good, evil. When something you did deep down inside of you, it's wrong. You feel it in the pit of your soul. It is. And when something's right. Fair versus unfair. Like, we know these things. These are built into us. That's how we were fashioned. Like, to anybody who doesn't believe in God, I ain't gonna preach to you. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to draw attention to these intrinsic qualities that we have, that if we're just, hey, boom, explosion, and now, humans, billions of years later, humans, here we are, now we're killing each other. From the Big Bang to today, you know what I mean? Like, this is what we've produced. The miracle of life has happened over millennia, and here we are on the brink of destroying ourselves. Like, come on, like, what's wrong with us that we can't see how bad everything is? And we're all, like, folks are too busy. Man, I'm going on a heavy rant here, you guys. I apologize. It's too early for this. But it's just like, these are the things that we're facing today. And as a man, like, I feel like my voice, my reach can only go so far. But I feel like if I don't use my voice or my reach, whatever my influence happens to be, like, then I'm part of the problem. We can't ignore we can't keep pretending like everything's okay. Somebody put together I don't want to call it a super cut, but it was just like a compilation of, like, this isn't an Obama rant, but Obama was the subject for this specific clip, and it was just like, hey, the economy is doing great, everything is fine, and then cut to, this is the worst financial crisis we've ever had in the history of
recovery has begun. Good evening. This is the worst economic recovery America has ever had.
And
the
worst economic recovery.
We are now in the midst of the worst.
That's what we're dealing with here, folks. We're dealing with mass deception. We're dealing with doing terrible things to other people in the name of patriotism, in the name of, justice and freeing people. Look, I'm just a normal dude. I ain't no president. I ain't no politician. I'm sure having to deal with choices at that level are very difficult. Like we as normal folks can't underestimate that, right? So let's first acknowledge, okay, hey, you have a position of power, you have a position of leadership. We elected you to be a responsible person, to carry out that office, whatever that office happens to be. And the level of corruption at those high offices is more than anybody would like to admit, but nothing has changed in years, and this is where we are. And so, like, what are we left with? What are we left with in the face of all of this negativity? Where does hope live for you? Do you put your trust in yourself, in your own abilities to just deal with life as it comes to you? Do you put hope in your friends, in your family, in your coworkers, in your employer? Do you put your trust and hope in them? What about your faith? Do you put your hope in your faith? I get people have, different versions of what they believe to be the truth. Let's just speak on hey, this is black or this is white. On that level of truth, not like higher power truth. Okay, just let's hold off on that for just a second. If you believe deep down in your heart that what you stand for is the truth, and you don't have an anchor by which you can confirm that that is in fact truth, an unquestionable, unmovable anchor, then how can that be truth? Let's look up the definition of truth, shall we? Truth, the quality or state of being true. That which is true or in accordance with fact or reality. Let's just chew on that for a second. We have rules. Our society has rules that, we just kind of, hey, in America, you drive on the right side of the road. In America, when the light turns red, just stop. In America, if you see a person crossing the street, hey, maybe stop for that person. Maybe stop for that person. I'm driving. That's why you're getting the driving examples here. I think truth in 2017 is weak. And it's because we have allowed it. We have allowed it because we haven't stood up for what is in fact true. We believe in sciences. We give all the glory to science. We have to stand up. We have to stand up for what we believe in. We have to stand up for what is in fact true. And remember that dumb thing on social media that was like, oh, is this dress blue and gold, or is it, blue and black, or is it black and yellow, or white and yellow, or whatever?
I see white and gold. I know there are people out there that say they see blue and black, and those people are crazy.
It's basically that. That's kind of what our society has made truth nowadays. It's like, well, my opinion is this is in fact the truth. For me, my truth, the thing that is my anchor, is the Bible. And I don't adhere to the Bible verbatim. I will be the first to happily jump forward and say, hey guys, I don't do everything this book tells me to do. And I understand that. And part of understanding, the Bible is kind of this acknowledgement of you're never going to knock it out of the park, because it's kind of built in, you guys. All you can do is try. All you can do is try to be a better version of yourself. A version of yourself that is more accepting to other people and their inherent flaws. Like don't point the finger. Don't point the finger. Here, there's this beautiful, I could summarize, and I could probably end the show with this. There's a beautiful gem in the book of Matthew, chapter 7, verse 3. One single verse. Listen, ready? Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? If you are not willing to acknowledge your own flaws and failures, then you have no platform whatsoever to speak about any issues with your brother. Like, look in the mirror first, then have a conversation. Then we can maybe level the playing field to have an open dialogue and learn from each other, instead of you pulling out your megaphone and yelling at me and telling me how wrong I am. Like, that's not how, you can't get anybody to listen that way. You have to be willing to accept your own inherent flaws. Oh man, I just get going, and yeah, it is what it is, you guys. I just don't I do not enjoy people's arrogance. It's frustrating, to try to talk to people who really don't want to hear you. They just want to be heard. They want to dictate the conversation and state things as fact. I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to take in a variety of different opinions, because I don't know, man. I feel like if I get too laser focused on one thing, then it becomes very hard to have an openness or an understanding to other people's plight. Like well, you weren't like me growing up. Maybe you had a different background, so maybe the reason why you think the way you do is because of that. I can't ignore that. I can't negate that reality in your life. I can embrace that, though. I can embrace the fact that we were all uniquely created. The Bible says we were fearfully and wonderfully made. That's in the Bible. Look it up. Fearfully and wonderfully made. Or you're just an accident that happened as a result of a Big Bang a millennia ago, and you just happen to look like your parents and something monkeys. And look, man, it's just, you're entitled to believe what you want to believe. If you're saying your story is less ludicrous than my story, then okay. We can both agree that they sound equally crazy. I will agree with you on that front. How about that? But nah, man, science, bro. Science, man. Okay? Sure. Science. It's our puny human ant brains. We're so smart, right? We're so smart. Look at how smart we are. Look at how smart we are. Look how awesome we are. Look at all these things we've made. Oh, right. We're destroying our planet. We're killing each other. People are dying. People are starving. There's droughts everywhere. We're ruining our planet. But guys, look at this sweet drone I just made. Look at it. Look at it. Isn't it shiny? heart of man is desperately wicked. I love you guys. Thank you guys so much. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to go so hard for episode 2. But hey, we're just gonna roll with it. I'm just gonna keep saying that. Guys, thanks again. I appreciate you all so much. I am hoping to have a good friend on where we can maybe lighten the conversation a bit. I'm hoping to be able to have some good coffee talk soon. And maybe we'll talk about some other things too. I'm looking forward to that. But again, thank you guys again for listening, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Have a great day.